Hello, good morning everyone. Thank you for showing up to the 14th Black Hat Singapore. We've been coming to Southeast Asia for quite a number of years, and it's always been really fascinating to see how this region changes. I think in the last 4 or 5 years, COVID accepted, this region has accelerated. It's accelerated in its importance globally, but it's also and accelerated technologically. And so I always use this meeting to kind of get a sense of the room, a temperature of what's coming next. What are people interested in? There's sort of a pragmatism in this part of the world where maybe in other countries it's more about the idea. Here it seems to be more about the money, more about making it happen, more about the operating technology, the application. Sort of where the rubber meets the road, and so I find that focus invigorating. So, for those of you who haven't been to a Black Hat before, I'll just give you a quick overview of what's happening. We want this to be an interactive experience. We want you to be able to ask questions of the speakers. We want you to be able to challenge them. They're here to help you learn, right? We pride ourselves on trying to build a community. We're not a one-to-many university. We're not trying to get up on stage and dictate to you our ideas. What we're trying to do is foster an environment where you can collaborate, you can meet other people, you can ask questions and feel safe about it in an inclusive and global way. Because internet problems and security problems are generally global in nature, right? You find a problem with Oracle or SAP, everybody's using Oracle and SAP. So you've just stumbled upon a problem with global impact. And so being able to describe the problem, being able to have connections might be very important in trying to solve or resolve your finding. So I want everybody to feel like it's okay to ask questions, and it's okay to maybe not have the answer from the very beginning. Also, something I do is I try to call out where people come from at each one of our conferences. And I do this to show everyone that we are a global community. We might live in one country or another, but we're working together toward the same goals. So there are people at Black Hat from 95 different countries. It's a lot of countries, right? Almost half of the world has shown up. So who thinks, by show of hands, that Australia has sent more people than India? Australia? India. India wins. See, look, more people from India are in the room, so they raise more. No. Over 400 people from India and over 100 from Australia. And if you look at this giant list, which I will not read out, we've got some other contenders here I'll call out. We've got China, Canada, Cambodia. Cambodia beats Canada. Colombia, Germany, France, Indonesia, Israel, Italy, Japan has quite a contingent, Malaysia, Nepal, the Netherlands are all in the double digits. Let me see if there's anybody hiding on the other. Oh my gosh, look at that. Pakistan, Philippines, Poland, Portugal, Saudi Arabia, Spain, Sri Lanka, Sweden, Taiwan, Thailand, UAE, United Kingdom, US, and Vietnam, all in the double digits. So there's people from all over. I could go into, in the single digits, it's everything from Afghanistan to Jamaica to Lebanon. The last one, Zambia. They always get a shout out because they're at the end of the list. So feel free to approach other people and ask questions, right? That is the nature of Black Hat. And it originally started, for those of you not familiar with our history, I didn't know anybody in the conference space, and I didn't know anything about information security commercially because it was a fairly new field back then. But what I did know is I knew my friends, and I knew my friends who were experts in different areas of technology. And it turned out that people from companies really wanted to learn what the cybersecurity experts were doing. Right? Back then it was like ActiveX, network scanning, automation, some reverse engineering, antivirus. And companies felt that if the researchers were talking about these problems now, they might become a problem 6 months or a year from now. And so they started to treat Black Hat as sort of a crystal ball to give them an idea of what might be coming down the road. It's not totally accurate, but it gives them an idea, a heads up. And so over the years, we've had an amazing array of talks. Not every one of them turned out to be as consequential as the authors thought, but some have gone on to be fantastically important. And so just because you see something and you can't immediately think of the application, that's okay. We want you just to think a little bit differently, right? There's so many opportunities to think inside the box. We're trying to expose you to different ways of thinking. So with that said, I've got some comments about where we're at. And I'm curious, by show of hands, who here feels like we're sort of back to a pre-pandemic energy level? Are we back to pre-pandemic energy level? Or are we still turtling? Show of hands? Back? Does the technological pace, the innovation, the energy, the things we're reading feel like things are going pretty fast, right? Right? It feels really fast to me. The pace of innovation and the amount of optimism I see really feels like the early days. Who here, by show of hand, also feels a little bit of apprehension, right? Feels a little bit of risk. I don't know about the supply chain, AI, quantum, bio, big data. It feels like a lot is happening all at once. And I think what that does is that leads us to this, we're entering an era of opportunity and danger. And the two are normally connected, but it feels like we're clearly entering probably another 5 to 10 year cycle of this. And if I think back to where this has happened before, the first generation I'd say is probably around the 1990s to early 2000s, the original sort of .com era. And in that era, we were all focused on building the network, inventing the technologies. Businesses were getting online, trying to figure out what they can do. Universities, governments were not really participants. Then we entered the Web 2 era. Now the attention kind of goes from the network to the user, to presentation, to UI, to UX, right? Now we're starting to draw in younger generations. You don't have to be a super reverse engineer assembly language expert. You could code in HTML and CSS. It's more accessible. And that lasted for quite a while. And the people who are trying to sell us Web3 right now, I don't really buy it. But I do believe we are entering a new era. And I don't know what to call it, the third generation. But this is the era, if it was the user before, and we're now entering society sort of as a whole. The impacts of the technology can change the thinking, potentially, of large segments of the society. Think misinformation, disinformation, micro-targeted advertising, creating information bubbles with algorithms that predict what kind of video you want to watch, right? At society-wide scales. This is the era of the hyperscale, right? There's a certain amount of power, market power, if you're a hyperscaler that smaller businesses can never approach. And if you think about what's going on with research around AI and large models, big data sets, that plays to the strength of these hyperscalers. So they're pretty dominant in cloud. They're probably going to be pretty dominant for a while in AI unless we can figure out a way to reduce these large language models to smaller or to make things more boutique around smaller data sets. I think this is an era that's more polarized. You see this. probably in your own society, people can self-reinforce, self-select the things that they want to see, but it also is globally more polarized, right? We've entered an era of great power competition again, and that is infecting or informing everything we do, every product we roll out, every data localization law, data retention law. And it's also a bit, the fundamentals, it's more abstract now. Like if in Web 2 you're writing HTML and CSS, it's now you're using a framework that's in an abstract framework. You're so far away from what's really going on in memory and CPU and on the bus. And that's okay, but it just means we're in a more abstract era. So where does this lead us? I mean, with all this opportunity, I've got a couple of thoughts. And one is around quantum, in the sense that quantum to me is something that tomorrow there could be a giant breakthrough. Quantum is so consequential to certain governments that there might have been a breakthrough, and it's classified, right? It's this Pandora's box, or like a Schrodinger. Quantum has the potential to upend the way in which we have to architect our data connections, our data storage, and we won't really know until it happens, and it could happen at any moment. And so quantum, to me, means we have to be agile. We have to be ready to adapt very quickly. Somebody says, quantum has happened, and we go, great, we have our post-quantum deployment plan. We've thought about it. We have a strategy. We've invested in a couple of different options. You don't want to be the company that wakes up when somebody waves the quantum flag and you say, oh, now what do we do? Then it's your years too late, because migration will take years. So opportunity, danger, quantum. The other interesting bit is cyber war. Cyber war was kind of like quantum in that books and books and books were written about cyber war and what it could mean, and is it a thing, is it not a thing? And then Russia invades Ukraine, and now we get to all watch cyber war. And at least in Russia and in Ukraine, it went something like this. Use all of the exploits all of the time at once to try to crush Ukraine infrastructure. And it didn't quite work. And the defenders in Ukraine snatched up all the tools they could get, all the attacks, patched everything. About a week or two later, Russia did their bomb damage assessment, attacked again. But now they have less tools. And they have to wait longer to develop new tools and get ready. So a couple more weeks go by, and they attack on the third wave, and now it's with even fewer tools and fewer exploits. So fascinating. It was not this overwhelming silver magic bullet like you see in the movies that globally take down everything. It turns out to be not nearly as effective as we thought. That's not to say it's not effective. I'm just saying it's one of those eras where we speculated for decades, and now we got to see the reality. The thing that it's led to, besides drone war and sort of a ransom war, is the concept also of terrain in cyber war, I believe, has changed. And the one example I'll give you of this to think about is it Russia fighting Ukraine on Ukrainian networks? Or is it Russia fighting Ukraine on Microsoft Azure networks? Right? Is the terrain Microsoft? And if you're fighting on Microsoft's infrastructure against Microsoft, you probably don't stand much of a chance, right? They're like, they control the matrix, and you're fighting in their house. It just so happens they're fighting against Ukraine, but Ukraine happens to be on your cloud infrastructure, right? Like, that has not happened before. Before, you'd be fighting over like an AT&T network. Now you're fighting in Microsoft's house, or Amazon's house, or Google's house, or whatever, right? That concept of terrain and Microsoft's ability to shape that terrain instantaneously and study it and report it out to everybody else to patch it and take away the attack tools, that's new. I don't remember reading about that in all the millions of cyber war books. And finally, my last thought here is regulation. Because we're in this era of society and consequence and polarization and great power politics, we're going to have more regulation, more involvement because it's more consequential now. Regulation around medical, bio, right? Big data, supply chain, S-bomb, then we have hardware bomb. Now we're talking about a SaaS bomb, bill of materials, right? There's the power of the purse. Governments are starting to regulate where they spend their money. There's going to be a big push toward memory safety systems, memory safety tools, memory tagging on CPUs, better memory safety in compilers. So don't be surprised if whatever you're working on comes under the gaze of regulation, because what you're doing now has been recognized to be so consequential. And that's maybe the biggest difference in this era, is that whether we like it or not, the importance of the work has been recognized. So what do? Those closest to the problem, I believe you have a responsibility to do something. It's not my problem to fix your broken compiler. I can point it out, but at the end of the day, only you, the compiler maker, can fix the problem. And I have three examples. One is Microsoft learning from Russia, learning from their adversary insights to inform defenders, push out signatures, update and protect their customer base, give the attack signatures to everybody, make the attacks less valuable, and then improve their operating system. Apple introduced iOS lockdown mode. That was fantastic. I don't have to be an expert. I don't have to push mobile profiles. I decide if I want extra security. Am I an at-risk population? Okay, yeah, maybe I am. I'm a reporter covering human rights. I'm going to turn on lockdown mode. And with one action, Apple made the mobile devices so much more secure. They're the closest to the problem. They recognize there's an issue that they could do better. Doing better means less usability, but they still provided a better option for those who need it. And finally, most recently, GitHub announced that they're now scanning for secrets before you publish. Right? Before that was maybe a premium feature. Now everybody, when you go to publish on GitHub, have you accidentally included a global secret? And if you have, they warn you. Only GitHub could do that. But by doing that, the statistics I saw, they've already blocked like 13,000 accidental publications of secrets. Right? We're in this era now of companies can't hide anymore. They have to recognize their responsibilities. So you have to be flexible. You have to be agile in this era. Crypto agility, language agility. You need to be able to potentially switch jobs in a more flexible, agile way. Because if you're going to be displaced by AI over here, but you're not going to be over there if you know Rust or another memory-safe language. So you need to be adaptable. And if you're a company, that might mean multi-cloud. If you're an employee, that might mean keeping an eye on what the next project is at work. At the center of a lot of this is data. The storage of data, the processing of data, whether it's a large language model, whether it's user customer data or data used for targeting of advertisements. Governments and adversaries are trying to poison data sets. They're trying to influence data sets. They're planting false data, and they're stealing data sets, right? Everybody always says data is the new oil. I think it's more valuable than that, and it's more complicated than that. You can't just easily hit a button and copy oil, but I can copy the data. So with that in mind, I'm going to introduce our keynote speaker, who is going to be talking about data. Our keynote, I first met in 2017, Xiaosheng, and he follows an interesting trajectory in how he got to security. Because when you're my age, you didn't just start in security, you found your way to security. And in 1989, he was a college student, and there was a virus on a floppy disks, right, that infected floppy disk. And so he wanted to figure out what was going on with this virus. And he reverse engineered, learned how to use debugging tools, and reversed the virus. And that got him interested in disk-based access. That got him interested in copy protection. And so he got involved in writing copy protection to prevent people from copying based on bugs in disk drivers. In 1994, he started his first company, not a security company, but it was an ERP company doing information systems for larger businesses. And then in 2003, he joined Yahoo China. And after Yahoo China, he went to MySpace, if we remember MySpace. And then in 2009, he went to Qihoo 360 for consumer security and enterprise security. And then in 2019, he left 360. And due to the strict non-competes, anti-competition agreements, he couldn't really participate in security anymore, but he could participate in venture capital and incubating other security companies. So he's been focused on helping other businesses enter the security space. So with that, you can read the rest of his bio, which is quite extensive and very impressive, but I'm really looking forward to seeing what my friend Xiaosheng has to say. So with that, thank you very much. Afterward, I'll come up and give you a couple housekeeping notes, and then away we go to Black Hat Asia. Thank you very much. Xiaosheng, Xiaosheng. Yes?
Good morning. And since Jeff already introduced me, I'd like to skip this page. So when we talk about the data security, we must talk about the government first. In 2020, the China government raised data as the 5th key factors of production, along with land, labor, capital, and technologies. And in this file, the government promoted 3 actions to accelerate the cultivation of the data element market. First, it promotes the open sharing of government data. It's not to share all the government data. It's focused on enterprise registration, transportation, and meteorology data. The second is to elevate the value of social data resource. It's about the development and utilization of standardized data in fields such as agriculture, industry, transportation, education, security, urban management, and public resource transactions. The third is strengthen the data resource integration and security protection. In this, it's about a unified and standardized data management system, data privacy protection system, and a security review system. And also about the data categorization and classification security protection system, and protecting government data, corporate business secrets, and personal data. And the government positioned data as a game changer. Data can bring, enlarge, superimpose, and multiply to the existing 4 key factors of production. And it could be promote changes in production methods, lifestyles, and governance methods. Now, the digital economy is already elevated to a national strategy of China. Back to 2015, in the 5th plenary session of the 18th Central Committee of the Communist Party of China, proposed to implement the cyber development strategy and the national big data strategy. 5 years later, in 2020, in the 5th plenary session of the 19th Central Committee of the Communist Party of China, proposed to develop the digital economy, promote digital industrialization and industrial digitization, promote the deep integration of the digital economy and the real economy, and create an internationally competitive digital industry cluster. In the 20th Central Committee of the CCP, it proposed to accelerate the development of the digital economy, promote the deep integration of the digital economy and the real economy, and create an internationally competitive digital industrial cluster. And by end of 2022, the Central Committee of CCP and the State Council released another very important file. It was called 20 Data Measures. It is the preliminary establishment of China's basic data system, proposed 20 policy initiatives. From data property rights, circulation transactions, 4 aspects of income distribution, and security governance. For data property rights, it promotes to separate the 3 rights: ownership for data resource, data use right for data processing, operation right for data product. Promote the data categorization, classification, right determination, and authorization mechanisms. Promoting authorized use of public data, strengthen enterprise data supply incentives, and explore personal data entrustment mechanisms. The purpose is to increase the supply of high-quality data. Compared with traditional factors, data factors have very different characteristics. Data ownership is not clear as traditional production factors. Individual, enterprise, and governments seems to participating in the production of data. Everyone can get a share of data revenue. But how to distribute the best balance between efficiency and fairness is still a problem. In recent years, all parties have actively explored data rights confirmation, but there are differences on nature, subject, content, and other issues of data ownership. And this issue is data rights confirmation is still uncleared. First, the nature of data rights have not yet been clarified. Second, it is difficult to divide data rights subject. Third, data application scenarios are diverse and changeable. And for circulation of transactions, it's still based on the data rights. So the circulations is still a big problem. There are more than 40 data exchanges in China. Most are built by local government. But the problem is there are not that much data can be exchanged because the right of the data is not cleared. And for the income distribution, the theory in China is that there are 3 times income distribution. The first time distribution is based on efficiency. Screen out efficient people and allow some people to get rich first. For the first distribution, the market evaluates the contribution of determination of the reward mechanism. According to the principle of whoever investor who contributes, who benefits, promotes the data elements benefit to be reasonably inclined in the creators of data value and use value. The second distribution is a principle of taking into account both efficiency and fairness, and the rich people help the others to become rich. The third distribution are made through individual voluntary donation driven by moral forces. The second and the third distribution make better use of guiding and regulating roles of the government, and pay more attention to public interest and relatively disadvantaged groups, improve the overall digital literacy of society, eliminating the digital divide, ensure people's livelihood and well-being, and promote common properties. In the security governance section, for government, innovate the government governance mechanism, keep the bottom line of security, and clarify the red line of supervision. For enterprise, consolidate corporate responsibility awareness and self-discipline awareness. For society, give full play to social forces such as industry associations to standardize the order of market development. For all 4 parts, is still a lot of issues. For data rights, for circulation, and for governance, and all in practice still have a lot of problems. And for laws, there are 4 laws, 4 regulations, and 3 certifications are most important to data security in China. The 4 laws are cybersecurity law, cryptography law, data security law, and personal information protection law. The 4 regulations are regulations on the classified protection of cybersecurity, regulation on protecting the security of critical information infrastructure, regulation on the administration of commercial cipher codes, draft regulations on the administration of network data security for public comments. The 3 certifications are data security management certification, personal information protection certification, mobile internet application security certification. The data security management certification is not a general term for data security certification, and there is no inclusion relationship with personal information protection certification. It cannot be simply said that these 2 are in parallel. Personal information protection certification include mobile internet application certification. Personal information protection certification is a complete site, and personal information export certification is a subset of it. However, there are special requirements in personal information export scenarios, so it is precisely said that it belongs to the subset and complement. And let's looking into the market. In 2022, the size of China data security market is about $1 billion. A year-to-year increase is about 35.5%. With the introduction of higher level laws and policies, and the future data security market will still maintain a good growth rate. The society as a whole pay more attention to the data security. In 2022, the number of projects purchased the data security product is about 31,000. A year-to-year increase is about 19.5%, higher than the industry average growth rate. Due to the difference in the amount of data collected and stored, the frequency of use by various industries, the government, education, medical and health, and public security and the judicial sectors are the main constructor industries for data security projects. In 2022, the data security projects purchased by these 4 industries accounted for 76 of the total. The annual growth rate of the special project, in this term, the special project means dedicated project. It's just for the project just for data security. And compared with that is an integration project. The data security is just part of the project. The annual growth rate of special project is not high. And also the number of projects in the telecom and enterprise finance and energy and the chemical industry is small. The number, growth rate, and the proportion of special projects in party committee department, transportation, and manufacturing are not high. From 2019 to 2022, database security, DLP, and data masking are still in the mainstream concerns of the market. As data security basic product, they will still be at a high level in the future for a long time. The popularity of data categorization and classification, data security management and control, data security governance solutions, and privacy computing has increased significantly, indicating some industries have made rapid progress in data security standards and data sharing. The demand for sharing data has already started, and it is expected to maintain a high growth rate in the future. For data categorization and classification, data security assessment, data security operation and maintenance, and data security surveys, the number of projects has also increased significantly, and the data security construction has begun to develop from product to systems. The number of purchase of data security management and control platform is gradually increasing. representing the trend of future data security constructions. The number of purchase of private computing products has also increased significantly compared with 2021 and has maintained a high growth rate. As the data continue to increase, privacy computing will become an important product area to maximize the value of data. The circulation and sharing of data can maximize the value of data. The data security combined with data development and utilization and industry development is a requirement. The system of comprehensive data security compliance construction that for the data security market is still fragmented, from planning, construction, operation to evaluations. That's a lot of products that is required to do data security. And the telecom industry has stored a large amount of personal and corporate basic information. The telecom industry attaches great importance to data security, and the procurement ratio of data security special project exceeds 50%, ranking the first among all industries. The construction of data security management and control platform projects has fully launched. In 2022, the number of special projects and the portion of special projects will be is relatively high. The three major telecom operators have studied related construction at the head office and branch office level. Data security assessment is also entered a normal track, and most carriers purchase the data security assessment service every year. Privacy computing projects have gradually begun to constructed, and the number has increased significantly compared with last year. For financial industry, there are multiple administration departments released multiple guides and specifications. In the past 3 years, the number of data security projects in the financial industry has continued to increase. In 2022, the number of projects will be 1,011. A year-to-year increase is about 67. Half of the projects are from the banking industry. In 2022, the number of banking projects was increased by 59% year-to-year, and the number of special projects was increased by 61% year-to-year, which is higher than the industry average. Banks have more complete and comprehensive standards for data security, and are more advanced in the construction of data security in the financial industry. Data security in financial industry will continue to advance in an orderly manner in 2022, 2023. And the number of database audit products, DLP, and data masking products are purchased in large quantities. In response to the requirement of the 14th five-year plan to promote orderly data sharing, the purchase of private computing products surged, and the growth rate was significantly ahead of other products. And for financial industry, actually, it's already also divided into some subcategories. For banking, it's very advanced, and for security, it's not that good as banking. And for financial industries, it's still behind of banking and securities. And with the vigorous development of medical and health data application, Internet plus healthcare, and smart medical care, various new services and applications continue to emerge, and the data security issues become more important issues. The National Health Commission and the Medical Insurance Bureau has successfully issued guidelines and management measures related to data security, requiring the introduction of corresponding systems. At present, the data security standards related to the Medical Security Bureau and the hospital systems are still not perfect. Research and development are being stepped up. Large cybersecurity companies have relatively comprehensive product line, better sales channels, and the ability to provide a total solution for cybersecurity and data security. So they have a strong advantage in competition. Top manufacturers have obviously opened up the distance from the other manufacturers, forming the first echelon. Professional data security vendors have stronger technology and product capability in the field of data security. They are constantly improving their overall data security solution capability. And professional data security vendors, projects, and comprehensive manufacturers have launched fierce competition with comprehensive cybersecurity companies. Regarding of comprehensive manufacturers of professional data security vendors, each have its own advantages in industry field. After accumulation and evolution, data security product and solution combine to meet the competition and business requirement of the different industries. Taking industry leading in big data security construction as an example, special projects are selected for statistics, and the proportion of the manufacturer's special project in different industry is given. In different industry, a different company have their advantages. Let's talk about technology, product, and service. For data technology, product and solution and service landscape is quite complex. It's for data lifecycle, from data collection, data transmission, data store, data processing, data destruction, and also from other dimension that is data access control and data security service, personal information protection, and data security platform that was divided from different dimensions. And let's talking about data process. Actually, in industry, the privacy enhanced computing that was defined by Gartner is not accurate for the definition of academic. It's for data masking, trusted computing, confidential computing, homomorphic encryption, and secured multi-party computing, federated learning. Actually, it has difference. Talking about data categorization and classification is a sample of the categorization in public data, personal data, and enterprise data. For data classification, for government, it classified it in unclassified, sensitive, confidential, secret, and top secret. The challenge to data categorization and classifications are just a few industries released their standard for data categorization and classification. And now the data classification and categorization is not fully automated. A lot of human efforts. Some friend told me that 70 of the efforts are made by human. And the accuracy is still a big potential problem. It followed the instruction of government to did the classification and the categorization, but it's not that accurate. And tags are not used in the further data processing. So for data categorization and classification is at the very beginning stage. Access control is another very important issues. And for access control models, from identity-based access control to role-based access control, and now it's attribute-based access control, but it's still not enough. We still need more fine-grained access control. That might be task-based access control and policy-based access control. The model of IBAC, RBAC, ABAC, to TBAC, and PBAC are different, the basic model. For the to ABAC, it's still 3 elements, and to TBAC, it goes to 5 elements. Access control is also a very important part of zero trust architecture. Zero trust architecture is a mechanism and is a medium and long-term network security infrastructure construction project. And the zero trust product and solution have a product provider and a solution provider. And the software-defined parameter is also compete with application layer solutions. SDP is much easier than application layer zero trust. And standard product and versus the customization service. And for zero trust is also a culture. And for data transmission, there are several types of product already be used for many years. Cryptography, VPN, remote desktop, and RBI, also along with DLP product. And for data storage, the encryption is the normal solution. Database encryption, document encryption have long history. CASB is relatively new concept for the SaaS solution, but it is not popular in China. For data exchange, the federating learning, SMPC, homomorphic encryption, API monitoring-based flowing data security, and data masking is a solution. But fully homomorphic encryption is still in the stage of schema exploration. Existing algorithms have performance issues, such as low efficiency, excessively large keys, and ciphertext exploration, and is still a certain distance from feasible engineering applications in terms of performance. Therefore, homomorphic encryption algorithm in particular application mostly choose the semi-homomorphic encryption, which is used to realize limited homomorphic computing functions in specific application scenarios. Talking about innovations, this is a solution from Data Clock, which is a zero trust-based data security solution. The first key point of the solution is a local sandbox. It's called Data Clock Secure Workplace. It is different with traditional sandbox, which prevents the malware escape from the sandbox. The Data Clock sandbox is trying to prevent the outside malware touch the protected data in the sandbox. The second key point of the solution is virtualized storage, which is called Data Clock Secure Storage. Anytime it is just part of the data was in the personal desktop, the access was controlled by the Zero Trust Security Gateway. This is another solution, is the full-link data security situation awareness platform. The founder of Quanzhi Technology is a famous hacker named Flash Sky. And he in charge the data security of Alibaba Group, and then founded Quanzhi Technology. The philosophy of Quanzhi Technology's data security product is flowing data management. It is the API security that is used to handle the data security risks. Another startup named Hongtu Technology have a similar technical approach with Quanzhi Technology, but have different positioning. It targets data privacy compliance management. The founder of the company is the former CISO of Shunfeng Express, the largest integrated logistics service provider in China. This is a solution from Cipher Gateway. It's a aspect-oriented encryption solution. Deploy the AOE model on the customer application server, act as a data access agent at the application layer, which can automatically extract the data table structure. And when the data is collected by the application and inserted into the database, the module will be sorted according to the management platform policy and encrypts data and store in the ciphertext on the database. When the data is accessed from the application side, it will be decrypted, and the masked data or plain text data will be displayed on the application according to the policy. Dynamic masking for the user side. The working key is derived from the module key in the key management system and sent to the module. the encryption and decryption policy is sent to the module by the policy platform, so that data encryption and decryption can be realized on that module. ABAC function realize dynamic and fine-grained access control from subject to person and from object to field. This DTAC framework is also invented by Cipher Gateway. It has 7 tactics, 38 techniques, 110 sub-techniques, and 161 methods. And it's more detailed on DTAC. And this, for traditional cybersecurity, is focusing on network attack and defense. And now we shift to a data-centric solution. And it's something about AOE-oriented data security. This is another very important point that is raised by Ant Group. It's called a security parallel aspect definition. Actually, AOE, the previous solution, is also based on this theory. The security parallel aspect white paper was released by Ant Group, embedding various layers of cutoff point in mobile applications, cloud applications, operating system, and other applications and infrastructure. A 3-dimensional security protection system of device, network, cloud is formed, and security management and control are decoupled from business logic, and security is provided through the standardized interface. To decouple the control from the application is a key point of security parallel abstraction. The business provider internal version and intervention capabilities so as to achieve micro and macro perception coverage of network security and data security, and realize security attack and defense and security governance such as emergency response, data security, and privacy protection. This additional slide on the parallel security. And let's looking into the future. For data security, it should be addressed by technology, infrastructure, architecture, tools, and data security operation. These 4 aspects. First, for technology, we still need a long time to do the improvement of privacy-enhanced computing. And for infrastructure, we need to make some changes to legacy systems for IAM, PAM, and access control. For this, something about the infrastructure architecture. And for parallel security aspect, it might be an easier way to solve that issues, but still need a lot of changes to legacy systems. And for tools, from the beginning, from the data right determination and the categorization and classification, now it's almost done by human efforts, that we need tools to do it automatically, to do the automation by tools. And after several decades development, the cybersecurity is now beginning to do the cybersecurity operation. And for data security, to do the data security operation, we should plan it from the beginning. And looking into the future, the data security will be a very large industry that could compare with cybersecurity. It's not a fully overlapped, it's parts overlapped. And there are a lot of issues that still should be addressed from academic, industry to government. And that will take at least 5 to 10 years to do the technology development, to make tools, and to make more regulations, policies by government. And in this age, the AI might help but still need to be confirmed. And big challenges, and also at the same time, it's also big opportunities to our industry. Thank you.